Hello, all you fucking piss ants and pea brain and peepers. I am fucking super extra angry today. As you expected right now, the news has been spreading. Major cuts, major throwbacks, major fucking problems. And a fucking leader that's so goddamn incompetent he won't solve any of them. But on the other hand, another quarantine edition right here as we welcome you to another quarantine edition of the Wrestling Enthusiast Real Talk. I am E. Peralta, otherwise known as the Wrestling Enthusiast. Of course, I'm fucking mad. And downright straight, I am fucking mad. We're going to talk about major breaking news in the wrestling world today as the WWE takes a severe financial hit as many staffers have been laid off, talent, production, and creative-wise. How much money are they actually saving here? We're about to find out in just a minute. Also, I will review an independent wrestling show by a promotion that's called, from Chicago, Illinois, it's called AAW. And it's a holy shit, I think it's pretty fun to watch. And it's pretty interesting with talent like Mance Warner, MJF, Thunder Rosa, and Jessica Havoc, and the Rascals, Trey Miguel, all kinds of talent there. It's just really fun to watch stuff. And I will review one of these shows that took place back last May, back in 2019. Also, when is this fucking quarantine bullshit gonna stop? Because now they're saying that progress has not been made, and we're gonna be locked down for even longer than we should be. So you could tell that I'm extra fucking pissed off. I'm pissed off at our leaders. I'm pissed off at the people that caused this shit. And I'm pissed off at fucking rich fucking jerk-offs from Connecticut. But hence since this is going on, I thought we'd take advantage of the wrestling news that's going on today. Obviously, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. And that is, of course, due to the financial impact of the coronavirus on WWE. The company started releasing several wrestlers, producers, and staff from their deals on April 15th, 2020. Now, that was yesterday in the recording sense. Today's April 16th. By the time you hear this, it's going to be either the April 17th or April 18th. It's going to depend on how fast my fucking computer works, because sometimes my computer performs like shit. Besides shitty recording equipment that I got so far. But don't worry, that's going to improve sooner or later. Hopefully. So the first bit of news, the following superstars, or should I say wrestlers, not superstars or sports entertainers, fucking jerk off, that fucking bucktooth Kevin Dunn, that producer. We are sports entertainment. We're not called wrestling. Even though we have wrestling in the name of the moniker, of course, we're not calling this wrestling. We're calling this sports entertainment. Fucking jerk off. Anyway. Okay, so as far as the major breaking news that's been going on in the past several days, or should I say this week, that's how this week has been going, especially in the wrestling community. So, I have a list of WWE wrestlers that have just been cut loose and let go. So the following names are as follows, and who knows, maybe I might update that list if there's any more that's been produced. The following superstars and wrestlers have been released: Drake Maverick, Kurt Hawkins, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, EC3, well, of course, because he hasn't done shit. I don't know why Vince don't like him. Eric Young, that's another one. Leo Rush, Heath Slater, Sarah Logan, Eric Rowan, Primo and Epico Colon. I don't even know why they have not been let go, since we haven't seen them in years, literally. Mike Kanellis and Maria Kanellis, Zack Ryder, No Way Jose, Rusev, Deonna Purrazzo of NXT, Alexander Jaksic, also of NXT, MJ Jenkins, and Dorian Mack, known as Dan Matha. They're all been from NXT and they've both been released. Now, as far as currently, that's the amount of talent they have let go, on-screen talent for now. We don't know if there's going to be any more that will be released, but we're about to find out in the upcoming days. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens if anybody is being let go here. As far as producers and coaches, the following have been let go. Hall of Famer Kurt Angle, Lance Storm, Shane Helms, Sarah Stock, Scott Armstrong, Billy Kidman, Dave Fit Finley, Pat Buck, Sean Davari, Mike Rotunda, that was IRS for those historians out there, Serena Deeb, Ace Steel, and Kendo Kashin, who just barely started with the company late last year. So those are the producers and coaches. Unfortunately, have been either let go or have been furloughed. We don't know if they're going to come back eventually, but there's no timetable of when they're going to come. Referee Mike Chioda has been released. This is a blow because Mike Chioda has been with the company for over 30 fucking years. And this just proves to me that this financial situation that they're currently in, they're not safe. No matter how much experience you have, apparently no fucks have been given about these people, apparently. And 5 more names here we got are for the announcers and presenters. They also work in the digital network equipment there, and they also work in the socializing. Aiden English, the announcer for 205 Live, has been let go. Jerry Soto, a Spanish commentator, has been let go. John Quasto, Josiah Williams, and Alyssa Marino from NXT. Both of these people have been contributors to the Instagram and the social media platforms. So their presence are definitely going to be missed on those. And I always see Josiah Williams, who's about to introduce what's going to happen for NXT. Alyssa Marino gets exclusive interviews on the social media platform. I remember like interviews with Jessamine Duke and Io Shirai, Xia Li. They say Xia Li, but I say Xia Li. And Bianca Belair, and then Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins when they were part of the NXT roster. So they were all let go. It's a damn shame because I think they were pretty good at hyping up the episodes, especially at the beginning of the Wednesday Night War. So once they started getting in competition with AEW Dynamite, so I just thought that, that's terrible. Another staffer is from Creative, and that is Andrea Listenberger. I don't give a fuck about him or her. I don't know who it is. I'm not going to say anything derogatory, but I will say, fuck them. The amount of creative that they've been given before the pandemic happened and after the pandemic, what makes you think I'm going to give you fucking sympathy? You're a fucking movie and television entertainment creative director. I don't give a fuck about you. You just want to write reality TV, so I don't give a shit. So, whatever. So that's the complete list of names that there are key elements to the staff, and they all have been let go. Not only that, but there's over 100 people in the offices of WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. They all have been let go or they've been furloughed. They received a text message saying they don't know when they're going to come back, but they have compensation on when they're going to be coming back, and they will be compensated in healthcare benefits, and they still have insurance for at least the next 3 months. That is until July. So, well, I mean, I'm definitely going to see what's going to happen from here. I mean, it's definitely terrible what happened to most of these guys. I don't give a shit about creative because they're fucking stupid. But everyone else, I mean, I don't know, man. It just fucking angered me so much. It angered me so fucking much to see that. It's basically they let go of the low cards, except for Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson. They weren't low card for shit. They were at least mid carders at best, and you're fucking letting them go. What the fuck? And to continue the story as forwarding, as we read as I just let you know, since there were major staff cuts at the headquarters in Stamford, according to a report from PW Insider, the mood and the morale among those remaining is somber at best, as you expect. The employees who are still working at WWE headquarters are, I quote, accumulating to the new normal, end quote, due to the high amount of furloughs that were done on Wednesday. One person in the company said it felt like at least 40% of the company was gone. Also, several people have had some form of survivor's guilt over still being there, and when many of their good employees are now gone, the WWE live events division basically took the most hits because they have no live events taking place right now, especially what's been going on. The digital division also suffered a big amount of cuts as well, especially what I just mentioned about the Instagram shit with Isaiah Williams and that lovely young lady, Angela something. I forgot her fucking name already. She's not very recognizable, but she does do some interviews. While WWE is hoping to have much of the staff by July, nobody knows for sure. WWE is expected to cover their benefits until then. So that's basically what the fuck is going on. So I have some rather tragic news going on. Unfortunately, we have some tragic news that just happened earlier today. Howard Finkel, the most legendary ring announcer to ever be ring announcing at wrestling events, especially from past WWF events, WWE events. He has passed away today at the age of 69. He was supposed to be 70 in a couple of months. However, unfortunately, he just passed away today, this afternoon. There's a lot of tributes going on from Vince McMahon and from other names of the wrestling industry. Triple H, Trish Stratus, Mike Chioda just recently got fired. Kurt Angle, Mick Foley, CM Punk. A lot of people are of course paying tribute to them. Has been a tragic passing of Howard Finkel. What I remember about Howard Finkel when I first heard him, I've been watching wrestling since I was 3 years old, and of course, they always referred to him as the Fink back then. And then was that deep voice of, "Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest scheduled for one fall is for the World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental Championship." So, that's my best impression of Howard Finkel there. I mean, I could do that. And especially after the match, where he goes, "The winner of this bout and new Intercontinental Champion, Christian." Or any superstar you could think of. It's a tragic loss. I mean, it's been, as a matter of fact, I've heard him ring announce on one of his last shows, and that was WrestleMania 21. I went to WrestleMania 21 back in 2005 when I was 17 years old, and it was a excellent experience for me. I saw the very first ever Money in the Bank ladder match. I saw Eddie Guerrero battle Rey Mysterio. There was an incredible matchup between Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle, and that was a 5-star match, which I rated a 9.5 or 10 out of 10. So it was a damn good wrestling match, and the crowd was into it and everything. And even after the match, my mug showed up in the fucking crowd. So I've been immortalized in WWE footage forever, although it wouldn't be the first time. But anyway, yeah, so that was back in 2005, and apparently that was one of his last gigs he ever did, at least a full show, a full event. He would stop by at every WrestleMania and announce the Hall of Fame class, the Hall of Fame class of 2005, 2006, 2007, and etc. So, yeah, I think he stopped appearing in 2016. So, yeah, apparently he suffered a stroke 2 years ago, and he had some major health complications, and I think he was confined to a wheelchair. And yeah, it's just a shame, It's just his health deteriorated from there. But yeah, so yeah, just a reminder, the late great Howard Finkel, he passed away today at the age of 69. So my deepest condolences go out to the Finkel family, and of course the WWE community as well, and especially in more ways than one because of what's been happening. And yeah, so the legendary Howard Finkel, we also have some more tragic breaking news. This is coming in from this is a first right here, actually, for the Mexican wrestler Black Demon has passed away as well, and he was the first wrestler to pass away due to the coronavirus. So, as it says right here in the article, he passed away due to complications from the COVID-19. According to Superlucious, Roberto Munoz Carrillo, who worked under the Black Demon gimmick, died of COVID-19, and he was just only 39 years old. Black Demon debuted in 2009. He was billed from Mexicali. He worked for multiple independent companies and won PPR's Pendragon Rojo Cup back in February earlier this year. And once again, my condolences go out to the Carrillo family. And of course, this is never ever good news when you hear a wrestler pass away. So my deepest sympathies and condolences go out to the Finkel family and the Carrillo family for their passing. And of course, just tough week to go around. I just picked up this news article from Dave Meltzer at F4WOnline.com. It noted that following in regards to how much money WWE is saving from the talent releases on Wednesday. And I'm quoting Dave Meltzer here. The talent cuts will save them about $703,000 per month. $4 million include all expenses cut, including expenses of moving into a new office. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer mentioned that WWE is still expected to be profitable in the coming months, despite the circumstances. They're on par now, and they're on target that if they do not do another Saudi Arabia show this year, if they do not do another house show this year, if they do not make a dime in merchandise this year, which they will, if they do not make a dime in licensing this year, which they will, they are on target to do close to $1 billion, maybe even over $1 billion in total revenue, depending on how much the network holds up. If there's zero network subscribers, which is not going to happen, we are talking about $850 million in revenue. It's probably going to wind up being close to $1 billion, which is more than they have done in any year in the history of the company. So I read that shit, and I realize there's actually nothing fucking wrong with the company. There's actually nothing wrong with finances, even if they don't go to fucking Saudi Arabia. And there's obviously no fucking issues going on with apparently the talent. The only reason why they wanted to do this is to get rid of the talent because they were unhappy with the way that WWE is going for them because they're part of the low card. They're not even mid or low card. So they're fucked, basically. And at least 6 of these 17 talents, these on-screen talents that have been let go. And I just last saw Sarah Logan just lose to Shayna Baszler on this past Monday Night Raw. And the match didn't even last a minute. The way Shayna Baszler beat Sarah Logan is that the way she did it, she fucking stomped on her fucking elbow and it looked like it went to contorted, and the referee and Shayna Baszler won as a result of referee stoppage. Referee stops contest, and the winner is Shayna Baszler, although ring announcer Greg Hamilton, or whoever it is, botched the announcement and said the winner is Sarah Logan. But it's actually Shayna Baszler that wins and goes on to the Money in the Bank ladder match, which at least Asuka goes in. I mean, Kairi Sane had a job to Nia Jax. I don't know how good she's going to be in a fucking ladder match, but, I ain't hating. I just don't like the way some talent is booked. But, especially the way Ricochet's being booked. One of the greatest talents, most athletic talents I've ever seen in the wrestling roster, along with Aleister Black, along with the Street Profits, along with Angel Garza and Austin Theory. And to have them fucking job out like a bunch of fucking putzes is just, to me, is fucking ridiculous in my eyes. It's fucking ludicrous that the fact that this goddamn shit has to happen to these wonderful and athletic talents. But as far as those other 6 people that are going on that have got let go, I'm pretty sure they're going to be fine. Because they've been dying to get the fuck out of there as fast as they can. They don't want to be a part of Vince's puppet show, which basically, that's what he treats this shit like. He treats Raw, he treats SmackDown like this, and then he wonders why he can't understand why he can't get it through his fucking thick-ass, senile fucking skull of his, that he can't fucking understand why the fucking, the ratings are going so low. It just baffles beyond my mind. I'm like, can't you see what the fuck is in front of you? Do you even watch your own show? Do you even pay attention to what the fans actually are saying? Do you realize that the fans have smartened up? That's a key word there. Smartened up. We know kayfabe is not that important anymore. It's like a secondary commodity to wrestling. I know this ain't 1970 and 1980 or early part of 1990s where they wanted to keep kayfabe going on for God knows how long. I understand that. But someone spilled the fucking beans, and not only did casual viewers smartened up, but also wrestling fans smartened up. You have to swerve the people now in order to fucking gain their fucking momentum to make them watch this shit. But apparently he doesn't want to do that, and he wants to win a fucking Emmy instead of fucking winning wrestling fans over and putting younger talent over. I feel bad for Finn Balor. Because he had to take he was called up back in 2016. He was doing a fabulous job in NXT. He was the NXT champion. He fought against Kevin Owens. He was another upcomer too back then. So was Sasha Banks and Bayley and Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch. All these other great talents out there. Now, most of them are in the main roster now, but at the same time, some of them get treated like trash. Look at Shinsuke Nakamura. Look at Sami Zayn. Look at Kairi Sane and Asuka. Although Asuka is getting some ground, apparently she's gained some momentum. According to a report, Vince McMahon's apparently catching on to what Asuka's doing. But anyway, yeah, it's just... What the fuck? What's the point of calling up people? Look at the Viking Raiders. Give them a month and a half long title reign, and suddenly you lose to a fucking guy who was a mid-carder at best, and they started to remove his fucking first name, and all of a sudden lose to a guy that calls himself the Monday Night Messiah, even though he's won a WWE Championship before. And then he goes on Twitter, started talking shit back in October because of a shitty Hell in a Cell match against Bray Wyatt that they fucked up on so much. You expect from, and then he fucking defends what they're doing. He's obviously a brown-nosed suck-up. They're basically going to do that to suck Vince McMahon's left testicle. But anyway, I'll talk about that some other time. Apparently, as a matter of fact, they had a back and forth with independent wrestler David Starr because he mentioned something about I'm hurt my WWE family and my friends and coworkers are hurting as a whole. It is a sad time and a sad week for everybody this week and all that stuff. Yada yada yada. David Starr says, "Do you for your company or for the industry as a whole?" And Seth Rollins came a lengthy response saying, yeah, I meant industry as a whole. Maybe there is some sense into Seth Rollins. It's better not to be a brown noser. Look at the bigger picture. Look at what's been going on. What's been going on here is just, it's just fuck. You know what I mean? It's just clusterfucked. This coronavirus pandemic has really shut the economy down. We're not in a recession. We're not in a depression. We're in a complete shutdown. I'll end the program because that's going to be our main event story, which I will start explaining in a minute. But I'll start explaining at the end of the show. But the bottom line, let's get back to what's been going on here. WWE is selfish for doing this shit. Just bottom line. They did not need to do this. So fuck them. I'm not saying I'm not going to watch the show, but if they have any more talent cunts and good ones out there and then they're all gone, I might not see another WWE show for a while. That's if they keep doing this shit. That's my statement. All right. Well, now I got that out of my blood system. And speaking of WWE, so for two for the price of one here, I'm going to review two shows. I will review the AAW show. It's a show that's called Take No Prisoners, and it's from back in 2019. I'll review that in a little while. But first, I'd actually like to take a moment to review this week's episode of NXT from Wednesday night, an April 15th episode from 2020. Once again, no fans allowed in the Performance Center. So, the way I look at it is this: it was a decent show, and it kind of kept the momentum going from the Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa production match, I call it. It was all right. But this is not in my opinion, wasn't the way that this fucking epic rivalry should have ended. I think they could have done more than this. It looked like, bottom line, in the end, they started fighting back and forth, and there was a 47-minute match. Bottom line, long story short, 47 minutes into the match, Candice LeRae comes in and fucking low blows Johnny Gargano and says, "I hate my husband," and blah, blah, blah. Then Tommaso Ciampa starts to feel empathy, and I'm like, are you serious? It's a fucking fight. Could have finished them off right there and could have ended this rivalry. He goes and consoles him and says, "You're all right? You're all right? You okay? It's all right, man. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay." Then, out of nowhere, she nut shots him in the balls. And Johnny Gargano gets up, and he was wearing a cup. Then he finishes him off, and 1, 2, 3, Candice LeRae turns heel, folks. Yep, that's how this match concluded. But in my opinion, it was a 5.5. I didn't care for it. Sometimes this shit just doesn't work. The cinematic shit. The Boneyard match was fine. I liked it. It was different. I couldn't give it a match rating because to me, it just felt more like a movie than a match. That's fine. Whatever, I was entertained by it. Don't get me wrong. It kind of reminded me of a Buried Alive match. That's what it kind of reminded me of. And it was a cinematic match, but like I said, I couldn't get no rating because I didn't know what to think about that. So, no rating. And then, yeah, that fucking acid trip Firefly Funhouse match. Jesus Lord, God Almighty, this is the most fucking clusterfuck of a mindfuck of a match I've never heard of, never seen before. Yeah, someone's been doing cocaine in the creative offices, folks. But anyway, we discussed that last episode. If you want to hear more about that, go to episode 4 of the Wrestling Enthusiast Real Talk podcast. That was from last week. Go check that out. But anyway, let's get back to NXT. NXT was a decent show this week. I'm not going to knock it. It was better than last week, in my opinion. Although the ladder match kicked ass, the one that Io Shirai won. I mean, all 6 ladies really kicked ass there. But let's move on for another episode. And here we have Finn Balor against Fabian Aichner. This is how the show starts. Fabian Aichner, who represented Imperium. Match starts with a lockup and working the counters. Balor grounds things. Aichner counters out and then back to their feet. And Aichner starts to overpower Balor. Follows with a couple of strikes, punches him around, and then counters into drop kicks. You know, it's pretty good stuff. You know, and then a little bit further towards the match, he worked over on Balor corner. Fabian Aichner did. And he whipped him into the buckles and started talking shit until Balor fires back, unloads with chops and kicks until Aichner fires back and then clotheslines him and gets a 2 count. And Balor counters into a standing double stomp, excuse me. I think he gives him like a sling blade or some shit. He takes out Barthel and he takes out Aichner, and Aichner cradles him for a 2 count. Aichner falls with a buckle bomb, but then he misses with a knee strike and then hits the steps. So it kind of gets interesting right there. As you can see, you know how he gets him going to the fucking steps. Then he starts slinging him back with a sling blade to Barthel. And then follows with... Then Aichner attacks, backs in, gives him like some sort of like a double jump moonsault. He missed him, then Balor hits the double stomp, the coup de grace, and then Bloody Sunday finishes with it, a.k.a. the 1960. So Balor wins that match, and it was, I've got to say, it was a 7 out of 10. I thought it was very good. It was a good opener to the show. I think it helps continue, keep things rolling towards Balor versus Walter. Eventually, we're going to see that match. And I know it's going to be for the NXT UK Championship. Because I pretty much am impressed at the fact, and under the impression that they're going to end up battling each other. Whether it's going to be at a takeover or at a takeover England, UK or some shit. So... we'll find out. We'll find out sooner or later. After the match, Charlotte cuts a pre-taped promo of who she wants to fight. And she started discussing about how Rhea Ripley is, Candice LeRae is, Io Shirai. And Charlotte actually wants to give Mia Yim the first title shot, though. And the reason for it is because I guess something about Mia Yim was her first opponent that she ever faced in NXT or something like that. And now they're doing the same. So in the same place here, so she plans on running through the division. Apparently so. And I have a feeling she's going to put someone over, but we'll have to wait and see. All right. Next match, Xia Li against Aaliyah. And some people call her Xia Li, but I call her Xia Li. I think that's the actual pronunciation to it. So anyway... in this match, they mentioned something about that these two had history with Lee was injured. Aaliyah, supposedly Lee injured Aaliyah, and Aaliyah attacked her a few weeks back. Then Aaliyah attacked with kicks, ground and pound, and Aaliyah powders. Aaliyah runs away and then attacks her after hiding behind the referee. Well, that's a heel move right there, as you could see. Or, I mean, not see, but I mean, as you see how I'm explaining it. Well, she follows with a couple of grounded strikes and it grounded Lee. Lee ended up fighting out and cradles her for a 2. Then Aaliyah fires back. Lee avoids the charge and then follows with strikes and a clothesline. Drop kicks her, and Lee finishes her off with a Robinson special. Gia Lee defeats Aaliyah in a match that's not even 5 minutes. It was 3 minutes to the point, so I will say this match is a 6 out of 10. But this is to make Gia Lee look good here. And I gotta say, I mean, she is really talented. She has that great sense of martial art background, and she has right there. Aaliyah has that finesse, but I think her time will be coming eventually. So pretty soon, maybe we might see her down the road. But she has some potential. She might be a NXT lifer right now at this point. That's if she stays employed. God, I hope she doesn't go. So short and sweet with the right winner here. So Xia Li is victorious. After the match, Matt Riddle talks to Pete Dunne over the phone. Dunne is supposedly picking his new partner and not telling him who it is. So apparently it's a mystery going on here already. Well, I mean, I already know who it is, but... So anyway, so here we go. There is an interim cruiserweight championship tournament, and the match starts off in the Group B session as Akira Tozawa versus Isaiah Swerve Scott. And just want to let you know, Drake Maverick is in Block A, and these last 3 matches he's going to have, unfortunately, going to be his last matches in the WWE. So he has 3 more matches, and then that's it. That's the last time we're going to see him in the WWE ring. So, I mean, he put up an emotional video. His opportunity was taken away from him, and I feel bad for the guy. I really do, because I don't think he was given a fair shake in the main roster. I mean, he was at a point where he was 24/7 champion at one point and made him look stupid, but that's beside the point. I mean, whether you look stupid or not, you did win a championship of some sorts in WWE. I mean, kudos to him, and I hope he finds something good and worthwhile. But in the meantime, it's just another reason why I get fucking mad. But anyway, this Group B tournament matchup for the vacant and interim cruiserweight championship, Akira Tozawa against Isaiah Swerve Scott. A lot of people out there that follow the independent ranks, you guys know Isaiah Swerve Scott. He's Shane Swerve Strickland. I used to watch him when he used to wrestle in PCW Ultra, and I used to watch him. This guy is very talented. He fought the likes of Douglas James, Mr. 450 himself, Mecha Wolf. He's fought Mil Muertes from Lucha Underground. He's fought Brian Cage of Impact Wrestling. He's a very, very talented guy. So I think he might go up the ranks to be a cruiserweight champion, but who knows? Let's see what happens here. So as the matchup goes, I mean, this match, it was very good. Akira Tozawa really, really kicked ass in this match. I mean, there was like one spot where he gets dumped into the ring apron and falls on the cannonball back in, and with a missile drop kick, and it connects for 2. Swerve Scott countered back and then gave him an octopus by Tozawa, transitioned to a dragon sleeper. Then Scott countered out, and then he escaped, and then Scott ended up countering into a brain buster. And there was even a spot out there where he got dumped into and then hit a Hurricanrana on the floor. And that was a pretty badass little spot that they had right there. So that was pretty dope. Akira Tozawa was really athletic. Same thing for Isaiah Scott. Tozawa countered into a cradle, and then Scott followed with a German suplex, and then he got a 2 count. And then I think what happened was they worked up to the top, and then Tozawa countered back in a way. Suplexed him into the buckles, then the Trouble in Paradise type finish, and then a senton to finish him off. And Akira Tozawa has a 1-0 record, and Isaiah Scott is 0-1 in a match that was 7.5 in my eyes. So that was a very good match. It was a good way to kick off that little tournament. And then the former champion ended up picking up steam early in the win, so he's off to a good start here. After the match, we get a package, a video package here, and it's promoting El Hijo de Fantasma, a luchador from Mexico who has been recruited by NXT and is a guy that Triple H has been keeping an eye on. I guess he was going to go to a different gimmick, but apparently they just said leave him like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen, and I guess we might see him in action next week, but we'll wait and see. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a very interesting tournament. Next up, NXT Women's Division match: Tegan Nox against Raquel Gonzalez. Basically, Dakota Kai's bodyguard, so to say. And Kai is obviously at ringside for her matchup, and Gonzalez just literally overpowers her to begin with. Just kept mowing her down, dominates early, gives a backbreaker, follows, and then Gonzalez ended up grounding her and started talking shit. A Northern Lariat followed by her, and then Gonzalez just follows with kicks, and then Nox is knocked down. Surely enough, she starts to fire back, but then Gonzalez cuts her off. And then Dakota Kai, she ended up trying to attack her, and then when she tried to attack, and then little does she know, Shotzi Blackheart, who is a risk taker in women's Shotzi Blackheart is a risk taker in women's wrestling. I have seen her videos on her Instagram, and she is one crazy nutcase in the wrestling ring. I wouldn't. She'll be a crazy daredevil out there and do some risky suicide dives, and you never know what she's capable of. So anyway, Shotzi takes out Kai, and then Nox cradled Gonzalez for a 1-2-3 pinfall victory. So Tegan Nox wins. The match, I rated it a 6. Not because it was interference, but it's because it was setting up a tag team match for next week. And I think this was a giveaway here. It was okay for the time given, so I'm going to give both ladies credit for what they got. So we have a video package of Keith Lee and his rough journey into wrestling and how his family didn't want him to be involved in professional wrestling. So it's an interesting story to see. Next up, Dexter Lumis versus Tehuti Miles. And I gotta trip for a minute because Dexter Lumis has an interesting gimmick, and then his entrance music sounds trippy as fuck. It sounds like the theme for Stranger Things. So it's an interesting theme song, for a wrestler to get as entrance music. So yeah, sounds like I'm watching Stranger Things. This match was strange too, because Tehuti Miles basically he jobbed here. It was a squash match. Dexter defeated Tehuti Miles because he got nothing here. He just ate a spine buster and was put to sleep with an anaconda vice, and then that's it. The match didn't even last 2 minutes, so it was no rating here. It was a squash. Not much to say here. As far as this show is concerned, it's not a bad show. I'm not going to criticize anybody here. But, so far it's like a 6 out of 10 show. So, back to what I was saying. Dexter Lumis wins with a squash. It's a no rating. Apparently, Velveteen Dream has been waiting for Adam Cole, but Adam Cole isn't there to face him face to face. Dream, and he's just chilling at home. And then Dream arrives in the performance center, says that Cole is the last remaining champion in Undisputed Era, and that his dream is going to be over soon. Then Finn Balor appears behind Dream, says that he doesn't know who he is, or he doesn't even like him. But when talking about the best NXT champion ever, he needs to be careful, because the ignorant comments will get him a date with the Prince. Oh, yeah. You're going to fucking beat the shit out of him, huh? Well, that was a little odd segment there, but, you know, I mean, maybe that could set up a confrontation in the future. You never know. Okay, so we're next week. It looks like we have Jake Gallagher against El Hijo del Fantasma. Drake Maverick in one of his final matches against Jake Atlas. Jake Atlas actually, I saw him wrestle at PCW Ultra in Wilmington, California, about a year and a half ago. And he is one of the most talented wrestlers I probably have ever seen wrestle in any wrestling ring in there. He's gone on the likes of undefeated kickboxer Douglas James. He's fought against TJ Perkins, formerly TJP, who wrestles in Impact Wrestling. He fought against Dom Kubrick, who is an young up-and-coming wrestler, and I suggest you guys check him out. He is a very talented wrestler. He's fought in a very talented amount of cruiserweights, but you know he is a very talented wrestler. So keep an eye on him. It's going to be fun to watch. Also, Kushida will challenge against Tony Nese. And then Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez against Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox. And that's the proclaimed matchup, as we saw a precursor to that earlier in the episode here today. So, yeah, that is going to be an interesting watch if you guys are interested in that, unless you guys are watching AEW Dynamite. Or watch both. Either way. Next up is the main event, is the NXT Tag Team Championship. Matt Riddle and a mystery partner against Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong of the Undisputed Era. So, Pete Dunne is stuck in the UK because of the coronavirus pandemic. So he's stuck in England. And so Pete Dunne ended up announcing that Matt Riddle's mystery partner would turn out to be NXT newcomer Timothy Thatcher. And granted, I've also seen Timothy Thatcher wrestle in PCW Ultra, and this guy is very, very ground-oriented. He's a mat wrestler. He's very, very mat-oriented. He has a background, and this guy is extremely, extremely talented. And it's kind of like they wrestled with each other in Evolve, by the way, so it's very interesting. Very interesting mix there, so I like how this is going. So, Matt Riddle and Bobby Fish were the ones that started the matchup. And Fish started talking shit, and then Matt Riddle takes him down. Fish scrambles, and Riddle maintains control as they roll out to the ropes. Riddle then falls out with an exploder. And then we go on to a commercial break. Sometimes I hate that when that happens, but oh well, fuck it. It's TV. Post-break, Thatcher is now taking control. Apparently he got tagged in, and he started grounding Roddy, and he starts attacking the arm, transitions to a bow and arrow. And I see a lot of old school here. I see a lot of old school wrestling action here. So it's very, 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 very old school style wrestling. So I actually like where this is actually going here with his technique. So in this, the NXT Tag Team Championship is on the line here. So if Riddle and Timothy Thatcher win this match, they retain. If Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong end up pinning either Riddle or Thatcher, then they will become tag team champions. So it's very interesting stipulation there, especially that Pete Dunne is not in the U.S. right now, so stuck overseas. Anyway, further going in the matchup here, Thatcher follows with chops and slaps, and then he takes out Fish, and Fish manages to tag in and takes control for Rowdy to come in. Rowdy counters with the gut buster, and then he hits that on Thatcher. Then he followed, I guess, with a flying knee from Fish, and then he gets a near fall out of it. Then Riddle hits with a spear to Fish, and Rowdy gives a knee to Riddle, and then Rowdy with a knee to Thatcher, but Thatcher ends up giving him a Fujiwara armbar, and then Rowdy ended up tapping out. So he ended up out wrestling him. So Riddle retains, along with Timothy Thatcher, even though Timothy Thatcher is legally not the champion, but however, this works one way or another. I thought this was a good match. Very good. The best thing on the show, in my opinion. And overall, it's a strong way to debut Timothy Thatcher. So, hey, welcome to the roster. So, it's an 8 out of 10. I liked it. It was good mat wrestling, so it was very good. Anyway, so that ended up being the main event. There was only 5 minutes to go after the match. And then post-match, Tommaso Ciampa is in the back and says that he's done with this. So he's done with Johnny Gargano and Candice and all of it. And he says we agreed that when it's all over, it's over. Whoever wins, wins. He goes, you and Candice show the world. So congratulations, Johnny Gargano. You were the better man. And then all of a sudden he gets attacked from behind, and you hear a bunch of shit getting dropped, and then Tommaso Ciampa gets attacked and he gets knocked to the ground. All of a sudden, Killer Kross shows up and attacks from behind, and then he says, "Tick tock." And that we close out the episode. I give the show a 7. 7 out of 10. It was good. Wasn't the best show they ever did. But I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was excuse me. Very, very unique way to end the show, especially, after last week when that Johnny Gargano match. I think it was the worst match of them two fighting each other, because I know they're capable of better, and they deserved better in my opinion, especially back in 2018. I thought it was a good show. It was worth checking out. I think NXT won the week. Personally, I think they did a better show than AEW. And AEW Dynamite. I mean, they had that Jon Moxley, Jake Hager, no holds barred empty arena match, and I'm sorry, but that match, I rated it a 4.5 out of 10. I think it was the worst match that AEW has put on so far. And I don't say that often, but, I'm sorry, I just wasn't feeling it. I definitely was not feeling that match. At least Moxley retained, so I think it was the right decision to make Moxley the winner. So that was good. Wasn't bad. So the entire show gets a 7 out of 10. So I'm very happy with the result. So check them out. It's a very interesting show. I think they did better than AEW Dynamite. All right, well, so check out the AAW show now. I want to mention an independent wrestling review of a show that I just watched recently, and I found it kind of interesting because I'm not the type of guy. I mean, I'm the type of wrestling enthusiast that likes to enjoy everything. I'm not the type of guy that sticks to 1, 2, or 3 brands and then say, "Oh, this is wrestling. This is all the wrestling I watch." No, I watch different types of promotions. I watch different type of things, with different promotions. I like to see indie wrestling. I like to see different shit because there's a lot of talent out there that can showcase their skills. So I definitely would like to check out whatever's out there, even if it's not even from the United States. It could be from Canada, Mexico, UK. It could be from Japan, Ireland. There was an Ireland promotion over there called CCW, Celtic Championship Wrestling. Interesting, to say the least. BEW, British Empire Wrestling. They also got bar wrestling right here in Los Angeles. They do it in local bar. I mean, right now, they don't have it right now because obviously the pandemic shut fucking everything down. But anyway, other promotions there too. There's also Defy Wrestling. That's over there in Seattle, Washington. That's something to check out one of these days. If you're over there and up there in Washington State, and then you're over there in nearby Seattle, check out Defy Wrestling. That's a promotion over here. If you're in the SoCal region, check out PCW Ultra. That's one promotion up there. If you're a little bit up further north to Los Angeles area, there's also another promotion called Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Those promotions are some of one of the top names in independent wrestling, so I suggest you guys check that out as well. Very interesting stuff. No shortage of talent out there that is willing to put on a good show. And these are world-class athletes. I mean, I give them all the credit that they deserve. So with that in mind, I decided to check out some random promotions from all over the place. And knowing my simple ass, because I make fun of myself sometimes too, so, fuck me. But anyway, knowing my simple ass, I like to watch shit for some reason in ABC order. All the list of promotions. There was at least 50 or 60 promotions because I got a subscription to the Indie IWTV, and I got some subscription to other pivot share type of files to watch the videos of these different promotions. So I have those subscriptions to that. There's a promotion called AAW, and this is located in Chicago, Illinois, and they always... I noticed like 5 or 6 shows. I've watched like 6 or 7 events from this promotion already. And usually they've done at least 4 or maybe 5 of these shows at this place called the Logan Square Auditorium in Chicago. It's not that big of a venue, but it's not that bad because at least it could fit at least 300, 400 people in there. So it's fairly decent. So this promotion, AAW, it's very interesting. We get an opening sequence, kind of look like a regular TV intro, but it's okay. I think what happens is Jimmy Jacobs comes in and interrupts the announcers, and he keeps reminding everyone that he's a genius, and then he doesn't like the idea of a scramble match to open the show because he's too awesome for it. And that Jacobs wants what he deserves. But then here comes Mance Warner. Mance Warner is one of the most talented indie wrestling talent out there. Indie wrestlers that are out there. Beer drinking, southern swooling, ass kicker. But he's also kind of like a fuck you, get out of my face or I'll whoop your ass type of style. So I like his style. It's very interesting. So here's Mance Warner to interrupt Jimmy Jacobs, and then they end up fighting with Jimmy Jacobs, and then Jacobs starts bailing out to the floor before a lariat can connect, which is a lot better than taking an eye poke. So anyway, that was the opening that was an opening sequence. Kind of looked like, it was like a television intro. Don't get me wrong, but it was a lot of fun to watch. At least there was a lot of shit talking. So anyway, the first matchup on the line here, the first matchup to start the show is Jake Something versus Airwolf and versus Trey Miguel in a 3-way dance. And Trey is in there with an eye patch for some reason. Trey Miguel, if you don't know, he's from Impact Wrestling. and he's 1/3 of the original members of the Rascals, along with Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz. Trey has an eye patch for some reason, and has the referee hold the ropes open and then jumps over the top in a rather nice jerk move. Miguel is told to take the patch off, and then he starts yelling about it, and then he uses a distraction to chop both of them in the chest. Those have no effect, and Miguel seems to know that he screwed up. A handshake to Jake then gets him to take into the mat. Then Trey has to avoid a charge. Then Jake charges Wolf into the corner, so Trey and Wolf start some double teaming just to send him outside. And then Wolf flips Miguel down and hits a chop, followed by like a drop salt, almost like a drop moonsault. And then Miguel, he drops a drop moonsault onto Miguel, and then onto Jake into the floor. Jake something was right there and got knocked down. And then back in you go, and then Wolf gets caught in a hanging DDT out of the corner from Jake. He gets dropped by a top rope Meteora from Trey Miguel. Jake something gets caught into a cheeky Nando's kick from Airwolf, and he gets super kicked down, and then allow Trey to hit his own super kick. Then a top rope seated senton bomb hits Jake something, and he doesn't even sell it. And I was like, huh? What the fuck? He didn't even sell that shit. I was like, that's fucking weird. How the fuck did he not sell that? But then again, sometimes the rules get redefined here. And he just didn't sell it, so fucking A. So then he grabs a Batista bomb and for a 2 count on Trey Miguel. Kind of like a spinning power bomb. It leaves Wolf against the Monster, and then it was a sit-out boss man slam to give Jake something the pin. It was a match that lasted about 7 minutes, I think, probably like around there. I gave that match 6.5 out of 10. I've only seen a little from Jake something in this one here. I think he was capable of doing more. So this was quite the impression of making him a match for him. He looked pretty good. I mean, he looked pretty good out there, and he was beating up both guys without much effort, and which is exactly what they were going for, I think. Miguel seemed to be quite the jerk, but didn't get a chance to do much. Airwolf, he was usually pretty good at himself in this matchup, though aside from one match against Ray Phoenix, I think at one point in time. I think they fought each other in this promotion one time. I haven't seen the big breakout match from him yet, though. But I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. And then the next match, Clayton Gaines takes on Chris Statlander. This match is an intergender matchup, which means a man against a woman. Something that WWE does not do, but other promotions have done it before. AEW has not done it, with the exception of an episode of AEW Dark, which was done back in January. Clayton Gaines is out there with Ace Austin, and then Statlander is an alien, which I don't. It's just no. I mean, I like Chris Statlander as a talent. I mean, she does very good. I mean, she's just she really knows how to wrestle and maneuver in that ring. She's very good. I mean, I can't get over the gimmick, because it's like, oh, she's an alien. I'm like, huh. She's an alien, extraterrestrial alien. She came out to Katy Perry's extraterrestrial song. And I'm like, it fits the gimmick. But at the same time, it's just weird. I mean, it's just really weird. It's a weird gimmick. So anyway, I watched the match, and it looks like a bit of carrying over one talent to another. Chris ends up getting attacked by Clayton Gaines, and then Statlander comes back with forearms and a mattress type of maneuver, followed by some running forearms in the corner. Austin gets knocked down and had released a German suplex, gets a 2 on Gaines, then backs up, and then Chris catches him on the top for an electric chair faceplant, and that was pretty good. But she only ended up walking with a sit down slam. A sit out slam, and she held on through as Gaines needed some water, killing some time, allowing Chris to roll him up for a surprise pin. This match lasted more than 5 minutes, especially on a show. On a show of this type of magnitude, where it's basically the main show. 6 out of 10. I mean, they telegraphed the hell out of that ending. I mean, the match wasn't much to see before then, but it was a simple theory of Gaines beating her up for 4 minutes. And then Chris gets in a little offense, and then a fluke pin, but whatever. I mean, it's just it's kind of a mixed feeling for intergender matches. I just have a mixed feeling for them. So it's a bit different. So no harm, no foul though. So after the match, MJF, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, is the Heritage Champion, says he's been talking to Cody Rhodes and the backstage interviewer is not a good fit for AEW. He'll be debuting a new title tonight, and that's what he says. But of course, I haven't been watching much of this promotion, but I've been checking this one out. So, but I don't like to see what's going on. Of course, MJF plays a perfect heel. He acts like the definitive jerk off, so it's fucking hilarious. At the same time, he acts like the way a heel acts. So he is very, very good at being a heel. So I give him kudos. Even if you're a fan, I remember the picture of a fan saying, "Hey, flip me off," and he actually flips him off. But fucking A. And MJF, keep an eye on him. He's one crazy motherfucker, and he's he acts like a pompous ass too, and that's best quality you could do when you're a heel. Anyway, Adam Brooks. Adam Brooks is the next matchup again. Takes on Josh Alexander, and Alexander is part of the North in Impact Wrestling. In case you don't know who that is, so he's one half of the tag team champions. So in this matchup against Adam Brooks, I've seen him wrestle once in PCW Ultra, so he's a very talented wrestler too. I keep an eye on him. He's very good. So anyway, as the matchup goes, Brooke flips out of a test of strength, and then he grabs a headlock before standing on Alexander's hands. This matchup was very good. I mean, it was good. It wasn't great, but it was very, very good. I saw a lot of good moves, like like a test of strength turning into an enziguri, and then a neck breaker turned into a half Nelson back breaker, and then it was like a reverse suplex. So even the fans were liking how Alexander was moving around in this match, so they were actually liking what was going on. He puts a chin lock on. It doesn't last long, so Alexander takes him back down into another one. A downward spiral into the middle turnbuckle slows Alexander down, and then Brooks gives him a tornado DDT and gets a 2 count. So actually, there was some good fast moving here. Alexander hits him with a power bomb for a 2 count, but a tiger driver is broken up, and Brooks hit a reverse hurricanrana, and then it's a springboard Canadian destroyer onto the apron. I always say those are crazy moves. I mean, it's something, because if he gives it to him on the apron, especially a fucking Canadian destroyer on the apron, I cringe every time I see that. I'm like, God damn, that shit's fucking painful. That's the hardest part of the ring too. Um, Fosbury flop over the barricade, drops Alexander. And then a Meteora gets a 2 count. Brooks Swanton hits Alexander's knees, though. And then it's a backbreaker onto the apron. He makes things even worse, back in, and then a Jay Driller gives Alexander a 2 count, followed by a spinning tombstone to put Adam Brooks away. And it's nice stuff. This is nice stuff here. You know, I mean, both guys beating the hell out of each other, especially at Canadian Destroyer off the apron. That was a spot of the match, but at the same time, you know, it was very, very good. It kept there was a good flow in the match. I mean, I thought it was like they were going to do some bigger moves, but I think I was pretty satisfied with what they had here. So kudos to Adam Brooks and Adam Brooks, Josh Alexander from the North. You know, I guess that explains why he's one half of a tag team champion in Impact. So keep an eye on those two guys. The match, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10, so I really liked it. After the match, they interview Chris Statlander. She picks through a nutritional bar, hands it to the interviewer without saying anything, and then she hides under a fucking chair all like a weirdo. It's like, fuck, what is she doing? And she looks at the camera saying that humans are weak and aliens deserve gold. I'm like, what does that mean? A title challenge? Challenge for a women's championship? Well, I'm pretty sure I'm interested to see how this goes. I'll watch the later episodes, but nonetheless. The Rascals take on the besties in the world. It's Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz, both from the Rascals. They take on the besties in the world, and it's Davey Vega and Matt Fitchett. And I got a question about this. Their fucking entrance music. Don't wanna say you will. I'm like, huh? But then I read some backstory into it. And according to what I heard between Davey Vega and Matt Fitchett, they're very, very close friends. And in answer to your next question, I don't know. Don't ask me those questions. I don't know. I don't know how close they are. They're probably closer to other shit, but who am I to question that? I just don't know. Okay, so either way, they're very popular. And they seem to be very popular. I mean, though it might just be due to having Truly Madly Deeply as their theme song. Like I said, it's just really weird that they have it like that. But like I said, who am I to judge, right? The only thing I'm judging is match rating. So it's like, what the hell? So the Rascals are the heels here, and while they break up the entrance and they stop the song and they start attacking, they already try to beat up Fitchett. They have a shove standing moonsault, and then they get a 2 count with Vega onto the matchup, by the way. Having to make the save, that earns Vega a series of super kicks, but he's fine enough to send both Rascals outside. The suicide dive sends both of them sends them over the barricade, and then Fitchett dives onto both of them again. Then he gets a bell. He grabs the ring bell, and a bell shot to the head slows Fitchett down through, and then Rhett wings it on Fitchett's ankle for a bonus. The ankle is fine, enough for the besties to double team Wentz against the barricade, falling by a running boot to Xavier's face back inside. You know, so when he used the hammer and then rang the bell, it looked like he rang his fucking nuts. That's what it looked like. I thought he fucking rang his testicles out till his testicles are whistling, "Oh, come all ye faithful." Anyway, a double flatliner gets a 2 count. but a Wentz distraction lets Xavier fight back, and the Rascals hit a backbreaker and a double stomp combination, and then still gets a 2 count. And Desmond adds a moonsault and a kick to the heads. It's a very physical match. It was a really, they slug it out in the beginning, and so this was no ordinary, this was going to be some gimmick matchup that's just going to be comical, which I don't mind comedy sometimes. Comedy could work when it's done right. So they do a shove moonsault, and they hit the knees, and then Vegas small packages Wentz, only to have Trey Miguel run in during the match and shove it over to give Wentz the pinfall. I give this one about a 7. I'm not sure how well that ending should hold up, but at least they had a fun match on their way there. So I enjoyed it. I give it a 7 out of 10. While that happened, a post-match between the Beatdown is on with Wentz calling out LAX for their tag team titles. Josh Alexander says he's back for the AAW title, and he'll be here every time until he gets it back. So there's some heat there going on with them. The next match is between Myron Reed versus TJ Perkins. TJ Perkins, as I mentioned before, is a former WWE Cruiserweight champion and a current Impact wrestler who's right now, at the moment, as of April 16th, 2020, he's tag teaming with his compatriot, Falaba. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Reed regularly works in MLW. Myron Reed, he's quite good, despite being a bit small, but anyway, Perkins offers a handshake, so Reed dabs at him in a callback to Perkins' time in WWE. So, and then a head scissors works better for Perkins, but Reed reverses it into his own. That's broken up with the handstand into the bouncing escape, and then Perkins gets to pose a bit. Somewhat, a little bit. Somewhat cocky, but not too cocky. I mean, his skills kind of showcases. I remember there was a part where Perkins spins around the ropes, and then he gets some near falls off of a roll-up. And with that not working, Perkins ends up grabbing the hand and slaps on the sharpshooter, which is switching to a Muda lock. And it was a sweet transition, too. It looked really, really well done. Reed escapes a pair of backslide attempts, and then waves a finger at Perkins, which isn't likely to be a good idea in this match. For some reason, the referee catches Reed's kick, and then allowing Perkins to get that backslide for 2. So we had a referee bump here in the match, but no one was taking advantage. So Reed is fine enough. Send Perkins outside for a dive, and then a slingshot codebreaker gets 2 more. And then Perkins is right back with a springboard, and then he hits a springboard crossbody, and then he's sent to Reed on the floor, setting up a slingshot drop kick. So, and he hits with a springboard 450, but then he raises his knees, and then Perkins gets in the knee bar. That switches onto an STF, but Reed gets over the top rope. Stun Dog Millionaire drops Perkins. That's one of his finishing moves there for Myron Reed. But you know, it's very good. If you've seen him in MLW, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I suggest you guys watch MLW Fusion on YouTube. That's one show to watch. So anyway, Reed can't follow up. So Perkins is up first, and then Perkins snaps off a Hurricanrana, and Reed reverses it into a sunset flip for a pinfall victory. And you know something? I actually like this match. I like this match a lot. You know, I mean, it's pure goodness in this match. There's a lot of ring psychology. I like this one quite a bit, as both of them were moving around very well. I thought it was very fast-paced offense. Perkins is someone you can have a good match with just about anyone. This guy is very talented. And I don't know why the fuck Vince McMahon let him the fuck go. I mean, there was probably reasons, but he's just pissed away a golden opportunity to have a babyface talent come in and fucking start whooping some serious ass. But then again, Vince cannot tell from a turd to a cheeseburger, so what's the fucking point? Fucking jerk off. But anyway, yeah, so Myron Reed picks up the victory. And yes, I love this match. So post-match, Perkins raised Reed's hand, and it was a nice moment there. Back to post-match interviews. The Rascals are willing to give the Besties a rematch, but the tag team titles are theirs because they carry the fucking company. And Wentz drops a lot of fuck bombs in there. So if you're into that shit, just like I am, I mean, I admit it, I talk a lot of shit, but oh well, fuck it. The Heritage title is the next matchup between MJF, who is a champion, and Mance Warner. Now, I mind you, MJF gets in the ring with his AEW entrance music. So, when he goes into the ring, people fucking throw toilet paper at him. So, I remember at one point, I did watch one of these AEW shows, and he says, "Oh, it's fitting that you're throwing toilet paper at me because this city is the shits." Oh, man, that is so fucking funny. Mance Warner comes out to Simple Man, not the Leonard Skinner version, some other fucking one. So he's challenging for a mid-card title. And for those who haven't seen Mance Warner, he's like a southern wrestler. He has great charisma. I mean, his guy's good character. He always have light beers, and then he does eye pokes. But the fans throw toilet paper at Freeman, though. So this seems to get on his fucking nerves. Freeman pulls out of his own version of the Heritage title, which looks like a pretty standard belt, but fuck it. Who gives a shit at this point? Supposedly this is the mid-card title for this company. Freeman doesn't think a wrestler like him should have to wrestle a man like Warner. So he has an offer. If Warner will, he goes on the microphone and says, if Warner will lay down right now, he can have a job with AEW. And Warner could be the next Ice Train or Roadblock or Mike Enos of AEW. And I'm like, what the fuck kind of shit is that? I mean, I understand Ice Train and Roadblock, but Mike Enos, come on, dude. Warner thinks about it and then headbutts Friedman in the face, and then here we go. The match is underway. The beating is on. Warner steals a scarf before biting Friedman's fingers. The champ bails out like a fucking heel. And he goes onto the floor, and Warner loads up a dive, which turns into an eye poke instead. They're quickly on the floor, and then in the balcony for some teased attempted murder there. And that doesn't last, so they head back to the ring where Warner's chair shot gets a 2 count. And then Friedman sends him face first into the chair, though it was time to get down for some more basic wrestling. So this turned into a bit of a wrestling match when they brought the shit back into the ring. Especially all that chaos when they were going to tease some spot right there at the balcony. But, and still the middle of the show. So Friedman is down. MJF is down. Warner takes about a minute to find a door underneath the ring because they start bringing out some weapons and they started bringing out a chair or two. And then Warner gets a door from under the ring. And the referee gets a bump. And Warner hits the lariat because that happens in the indies as well, of course. Jimmy Jacobs ends up coming out, wraps a chair around Warner's head, and then hit it with a kendo stick. So MJF ends up retaining the title, and this was a 7 out of 10 in my opinion. So I mean, this was a good, fun little match. And it had a story to it. It made sense. It worked quite well. Warner has all kinds of charisma, and MJF is one of the best heels, downright bar none, especially his promos in wrestling. This was good stuff. I could go with MJF surviving one more time to retain. I could go for one more. I could go for more of this, and that's because they're both very good at what they do. And post-match, MJF makes the mistake of saying he'll face anyone, anytime for the title. So let's do that right now. So then, out comes Jake something. And MJF is defending again and immediately starts backtracking because of their history together. And then Jake calls him a fucking coward. So we're off in a hurry. The spear ended up finishing MJF, and then Jake gets the title at 34 seconds. And that match, I'm not giving a rating, even though it's a bonus. I'm not giving it because it didn't last longer than 5 minutes. So, whatever, you know. So after that, we have a new heritage champion of AAW, and that's Jake something. And while that happening is going on, after that shit happens, the besties in the world are mad because one of them has a bruise on his face before he and his wife. Okay, that answers questions there. Okay, all right. Especially those dick faces, they're going to ask me questions in case what type of people these two are with the besties the besties in the world team is. So, okay, that pretty much answers your fucking question. And who cares anyway? Who gives a fuck? I'm here talking about matches. So he has a bruise on his face before he and his wife goes to Mexico. They want a rematch in Austin, Texas. Ooh, interesting. And after that happens, Thunder Rosa is back from Japan and he wants her women's title back. Ooh. And Thunder Rosa is one of the most talented Mexican luchadoras, women's wrestlers out there. Very tough, and she's and she has good technique. So keep an eye on her as well. And while all this is going on, we have this guy, Armando Alejandro Estrada. He comes in and talks about he's a family man and his daughters are just like everyone. They live at home with their family. He's here to represent the man going straight to the top, which is Jacob Fatu, a.k.a. Umaga's nephew. Yeah, and I must do this crappy entrance. His name is Armando Alejandro Estrada. Well, there you go. I just did that shit. And while that's going on, Jacob Fatu is Umaga's nephew, a.k.a. Tongan Kid son. And I actually met Jacob Fatu a couple of times at the PCW meet and greets. He's actually he's a very good dude, actually. He knows what's up, man, with the wrestling business, and he's a cool dude. I suggest you guys check him out at MLW. He's part of the Contra unit, along with Joseph Samuel. They're a deadly tag team stable. Check them out at MLW Fusion on YouTube. Those guys are they're a group of badasses that have wrestling matches that are not only physical, but they're also fucking dangerous. They always have all violence legal matches and all kinds of crazy shit happening. So check those guys out. Okay, so anyway, Jacob Fatu is set to fight AC Baby himself, Ace Romero. Romero is a huge guy who weighs just shy of about almost 500 pounds, probably like around 450, 476 pounds maybe. He's a crowd favorite, obviously. And while he was trying to enter the ring, Fatu jumps in before the bell, I think. And he sends Ace into the post. Romero is busted open, and it's time for some chair shots, and he hits him in the back. The referee calls it off because the cut was... so he needs to be replaced, apparently. And I don't know what I'm like, really? What's up with this shit? Weird. Now, while all this is going on, they're taking Ace Romero to the back and pushing him to the back. Ace Romero comes up with his wrestling buddy Paco, and Paco comes in and he's like, "What the heck's going on?" And then Ace Romero comes and tells him, "Hey, go after him, go after him." So Paco is rather small, and he slugs away, and he goes in and challenges Jacob Fatu. He starts the match, and it's limited effectiveness. It was a high crossbody, and it's a bad idea as well. Fatu simply just catches him into a Samoan drop, and he pins him in less than a minute. Now, are they running out of time, and they need to fill in everything they can here? Because that's a no rating for me. Hang on, though. While this is going on, here comes Romero coming from the back, and then all of a sudden the original match is on. So we have a match that has a no rating here. And then a match that was a totally different match, and then all of a sudden we're back to the original plans anyway. Weird. Very weird. Anyway, Romero ends up sending him into the barricade, hits a running charge, and the fucking thing raises the goddamn barricade. I was like, holy shit. He basically pushed all his goddamn weight. That was fucking crazy. I have never seen that before. It basically dislodged one of the barricades, so I was like, good God. They get inside so Romero could paint a chair into Fatu's head, sending him back outside, and then a big old suicide dive from a 470-pounder. Wow. I was like, man, you see a big dude over 450 pounds or more to do a suicide dive like that? Oh, man, that is fucking crazy. Anyway, they go back in, and then Fatu hits a super kick. It was like and then he gave like a running Umaga attack in the corner, which is, like a pounce on the head. Romero is too big to get Samoan dropped, so it's a spinning rock bottom for 2 instead. He gets a near fall. Fatu loads up some chairs in some corners, and another blast Romero in the head. The Samoan's drop doesn't work again. Fatu falls face first onto the chair, which makes up adding extra effect into it. Romero makes his comeback, and then running a drop kick with a sit-out power bomb, excuse me. So a sit-out power bomb gets a 2 count, and then he missed a charge and then sends Romero head first onto one of the chairs. And then that sets up for a Samoan drop, and then Fatu drops a swanton, and then that's your matchup. So the original plan started to come through. It was just a bunch of shit that was happening right before that match was going to start. So it was, not to say it's a swerve, but it was a little bit of a twist. Not that much, but it was a fight. It was a good one. Not very good, but it was a solid one. So 6.5. I give credit to Romero. For a guy that size to do a suicide dive, it's kind of awe-inspiring. He moves well. It's clear that he can only do so much, though, and without various shortcuts. But on the other hand, Fatu is one of the top wrestlers that's going on in the game today, bar none. He's one of the best wrestlers out there, and especially when it comes to pro wrestling, he's just basically he's fucking physically mean. And he's mean and bad. And on top of that, he fucking could climb up that top rope and he could do a moonsault. It's fucking amazing. So anyway, 6.5 for that match. It was very good. Mance Warner wants Jimmy Jacobs in any match Jacob wants. Sounds like a challenge. Sami Callihan is sick. Obviously he has a runny nose, or it's COVID. Nah, this is 2019. Nobody knew what the fuck COVID-19 was back then. Sami Callihan is under the weather, but he is ready to take out David Starr and keep his world title. So we're on to our next matchup. The AAW Women's title. Thunder Rosa challenging the champion Jessica Havoc. Havoc is this is her first title defense. I believe the first title defense she had since she won it. This was the first match that she won, and I believe she beat Kylie Ray, the smiley one, Kylie Ray. I believe she beat her because Kylie Ray was at that one point in time. She was headed to AEW, and of course, for her that didn't work out. But hey, who am I to judge, and who am I to think what happened? I don't know what happened, but hey, shit happens. So anyway, so Thunder Rosa comes out, Jessica Havoc comes out. Who's the face in this match, though? That's the thing that confuses me. So Rosa is challenging, and Havoc is face. I mean, weird, different. So a hip swivel into a failed sunset flip attempt as Rosa is trying to use the speed and missed the charge in the corner. Doesn't slow Havoc down. And Rosa dives into a choke slam. Havoc ends up lifting her into like a full Nelson type move. And then she ended up dropping her down. Where Rosa taps, but for no meaning, because I don't know what happened there. I guess she got pissed. I don't know. She throws out a big leg, misses, so Rosa ends up hitting a double downward spiral for 2. It's off to like a bear hug through with Havoc dropping down into something like a reverse bubble bomb for 2 of her own. So that's another near fall. Rosa ends up firing off kicks to the leg and then a drop kick to the leg, cuts down the champ, so she's knocked down. Havoc drives her into the corner again, but for a top rope hurricanrana, it sends Havoc into the corner, and then she gets knocked down, and then a running drop kick gives Rosa another near fall, and then after that, she gives her like this missile drop kick, and it's good for the same, and then a Black Widow is countered into a tombstone, and Rosa is basically tombstone herself into a pinfall. So 1, 2, 3, Jessica Havoc wins this match. This was a 7 out of 10. And Thunder Rosa is very skilled, but she looked tiny compared to the monster champ. No disrespect, Jessica Havoc. If you are listening to this, no disrespect for you, but you are a powerhouse compared to. I mean, you're a powerhouse. You're finding, you take advantage of your strength. And that's what I'm trying to say. It made it work here. More time around would have probably helped though, and Havoc just caught her without much effort in the end. So what we had was good through, and the announcers made the women's division seem like a big deal. So it was a good thing they did. After the match, Estrada and Fatu wanted better competition, and if that means the world title, then, well, so be it. David Starr is getting an interview next, and he says he does not like Sami Callihan, who is the worst thing about wrestling today, and he's going to show him that AEW is truly independent. Another tag team matchup we have going on here. Team Tremendous, which is Dan Barry and Bill Carr, taking on a pair of detectives here. I've seen them before, and it's very interesting. They come up to the Axel Foley theme song, so it's very fucking funny. So Team Tremendous is what they're called. Dan Barry and Bill Carr. And they take on the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Ray Phoenix Jr. Pentagon and Dan start things off, and it's more yelling with Dan trying some Spanish. A super kick finally drops Dan, so Bill comes in for a hurricanrana. It's just funny because like when everything happens, Pentagon always does his signature cero miedo, which means in English it's zero fear. Zero fear, cero miedo in Spanish. But it's funny because he actually went up to Dan Barry's face and he tried to say cero miedo, and then he says a pecha la pinche puta madre, which is kind of like a way of saying fuck you, you fucking bitch. So that was that type of move, that type of insult. So anyway, that's a little lesson here. Thank you, Rosetta Stone. Um, this match is really good. Something that looked like a magic killer was broken up midway to the matchup, and then knocked a head scissors that was way too early. That was kind of a bit of a botch, but I mean, shit happens in the ring. A little bit towards the end, the Bros are back up. They got hit with like some sort of razor edges running cutter combination, and that was ended up for a near fall. With John Barry and Bill Carr. I'm sorry, Dan Barry. Dan Barry and Bill Carr. They tried to do this shit. It was kind of like a razor's edge / running cutter. And it was very interesting, but it ended up being a 2 count. So then the Lucha Brothers are back up with a double super kick. Carr ends up clotheslining both of them. Takes a breather. Phoenix is back up with a top rope. Gets a double stomp to drive Carr into the apron. Pentagon Driver gets another near fall. Barry ends up getting like a electric chair / sliced bread combination. That was 2 interesting combination moves right there. And the same with Pentagon, trying to do that since Pentagon doesn't sell for very long. He's back up. Pentagon's very good, but once he sells, he gets up very quickly. He gets a Canadian destroyer to Carr, and that means a Blackfire driver, and then Barry is finished. And it was a good match too. It was fun. It was fun. 7 out of 10. I liked it. It seems to be very subtle on most of the matches on the show, but I'm enjoying it. I enjoy what I'm watching here. So some of the best talents are right here in the world in this indie show, and it shows because is there really any surprise that AEW wanted them at that point in time? Yeah. Team Tremendous. Yeah, eventually you're going to get your time. After the match, Phoenix ended up putting over the AAW in city of Chicago and saying, you can do whatever you want. Pentagon thanks AAW and as well because they're out. They're out of here. Not mentioning, of course, but they're pretty much gone. After the match, a promo by Jimmy Jacobs saying Mance Warner should bring it, and they're going to have a match down the road. So the main event here is David Starr against Sami Callihan, who is the AAW champion. Starr is challenging and has Jake something in his corner. Sami, on the other hand, has a suited hype man who looks like Joey Mercury. Not too pleasing. Looks fucking stupid. They lock up against the ropes, start the match. The fans are all over Callahan's ass because he's from Ohio. David Starr, I see a lot of good talent on him. He's very, very good. He's just someone to keep an eye on in the future. Even to this day, he's someone to keep an eye on, especially down the road. I like where this match went. This match was very aggressive. David Starr was going to give him some wrestling skill. And there was some mat wrestling, but there was also some brawling. And Sami Callihan is known for giving up for brawling tactics. So, like a little bit towards in the beginning of the match, David Starr, he sent him to the apron for a springboard clothesline. And then Callahan's ready to dive. He's ready for the dive. That means a chair to Starr's head, some hard-ass chops to the chest. Then he runs around the ring. Takes a little too long, though, because, Sami likes to run around the ring. That's this kind of thing. That's kind of his character, what Sami Callihan does. So Starr catches him with a super kick back in, and then Sami gets 2 off the top rope and gets a suplex before it's off the chin lock. The comeback is on with Starr unloading in this corner. and then he follows with a low super kick. So it was kind of physical. I mean, they were getting physical at the beginning of the matchup. Then midway towards the match, when he got hit with a downward spiral, Sammy falls out to the floor, and you don't want to do that in an indie match. So Starr nails a suicide dive. You also don't come back in as Sammy grabs a hanging, swinging neck breaker or attempts to do something like that. And he gets a near fall. Then, I'd be surprised. There was a lot more in-ring action than there was outside the ring. But, he did a lot of good here. A little bit towards in the end of the matchup here, he gets a running knee to the head, sets up a powerbomb into an STF, but then Starr makes it to the ropes. And then Starr, he could barely stand because he's so fucked up. At least he was selling it that way. He manages a hell of a shot to the face of Sami Callihan. Sammy spits at him. And then Starr is right back with a brain buster and onto his knees. And by the way, when Sami Callihan spits on him, David Starr tries to lick the spit. I was like, I'm like, God damn, that was gross. But anyway, Starr ended up hitting him with a brain buster onto the knee for a hot 2, and it was a 2 count. It was a very close near fall, so that was almost like considered a false finish. The Educator, he had him on the Educator submission. It was like the STF kind of, but then Sammy ended up tapping out. But that idiot on the outside has the referee stirring, and he got him distracted. Starr ended up letting him go, and then Jake turns on Starr to knock him cold. Sammy adds the Cactus Special and then wins with a chin lock. Yeah, I mean, this was a very entertaining match for the most part, but it never really was like that high-level type of main event where you end up having several false finishes. We had one, but I think I think that it's not the word we were looking for in the main event, but Jake turning on him felt like a big deal, and we'll probably set up a big Jake versus Starr type matchup down the road for this promotion. I have to check out more of the AAW shows. I want to see how that goes. Sammy feels like a major heel as a champion, so whoever eventually gets to beat him should be an important moment. It's a fine main event, though. I give kudos to them. 7.5 out of 10. Nothing too crazy, but it was interesting. Post-match, Sammy says he is AAW and he's professional wrestling. Interesting. So, overall, I give the show a 7 out of 10. It wasn't great. I mean, it was good. But it's not some must-see shit. I mean, it's definitely worth the check. I've seen far worse shows than this. And this show felt like a bigger indie company with a lot of action. So, though trimming a match or two off and then letting some other... I mean, because, again, time constraints. Sometimes time constraints, it fucks the rhythm of a show up. Some others have more time. We need to have some others to have more time. And they would have made for a better night. What we got was rather good, though. With only like one match I wouldn't call at least pretty good. And especially one that I gave no rating to. So, but at the same time, though, nothing was great. None of the matches stood out, except for, I think, the T.J. Perkins Mason Reed show. That match, oh my God, that showcase was excellent. I mean, I thought it was fun to watch. They were very physical. I like what happened with T.J. Perkins. And then Myron Reed, excuse me. I keep forgetting his name. Sometimes this doesn't sound like a name that would be recognizable unless you showcase who he is. But Myron Reed gets a victory here against TJP, and I dubbed this match of the night. I gave it an 8 out of 10. So, I was very good. I mean, I was intrigued. I was intrigued by a lot of things in the show. I wouldn't call it and see it's great, but I mean, I would say it's very good. I mean, it's good. It's good. So I like the show well enough, and 7 out of 10 for the whole entire show. And given how bad some certain WWE shows were, I can take a good up and down indie card. So that's your story right there. All right, I just got one more thing to say before I close the program out on this. It's back to what happened with the COVID-19 situation here. I think that these politicians are trying to find a way to break our fucking balls. I think that's what this is about. And I see, because when I looked at recent numbers of new coronavirus cases that has been happening all over the world, and the United States is obviously getting hit hard by a lot of new cases, mostly stricken for you guys over there in New York and New Jersey and Connecticut and all Long Island and all that stuff. So, I mean, you guys are the hardest hit states. So, my thoughts are with you guys, especially because you guys have been going through a lot of and I feel bad for you guys, but while we're watching here, we get some encouraging data that the curve is starting to flatten. And while the curve is starting to flatten, we start to hear shit about, we might think about reopening the country. Maybe the guidelines will lift. Right here where I'm currently at, it's state of California. They have extended the guidelines to remain on lockdown until May the 12th. And judging by what I see here, it's a bunch of shit, because I'm looking at this and I look at these articles on the news and then I look at them on TV and then they say, well, the curve is starting to flatten down and it looks like we could go back to normal. We could think about actually reopen the economy. So, we're getting a lot of good news here. Now, obviously, yes, I rebel a lot I bash the Republicans a lot. Yes, I do. But the reason why I bashed a lot of President Pigfucker and bitch McConnell, Moscow bitch McConnell, I really hate that motherfucker. I can't stand his fucking face. He looks like a fucking putz. Looks like someone hit him in the face with a tire iron. Fucking shrunken fucking turtle face, turtleneck motherfucker. Anyway, just because I bash the Republicans, that does not mean I'm a liberal. I'm neither a liberal nor am I a conservative when it comes to these type of things. I'm a Pacific neutral individual. What's right is what's right, and what's wrong is what's wrong. And that's what I see. Now, speaking of that, well, in that case, California Governor Gavin Newsom released a couple of promising things earlier in the week. I believe it was on Monday, which was on April 12th. And they mentioned something about reopening the country and joining forces with state of California, state of Oregon, and the state of Washington. Hope to build some guidelines into reopening the economy. And it will have to take steps for everything to reopen. So that is what would tend to happen here. So it looked kind of promising for the last couple of days. So then I watched the news yesterday. All of a sudden, I hear a report saying that Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti, which is endorsed by Gavin Newsom, California Governor Gavin Newsom, that we should not be, even though we should open parts of the country, we should not have business, big sports or concert gatherings or sporting event gatherings until 2021. And I was infuriated by that whole situation. Because let me tell you this. Even if the situation starts improving and this hardly becomes a fucking tick on the ice block instead of a big air raid into the fucking country, much less in the world, what makes you think that this whole fucking planet is going to shut down until then? Do you honestly think that the people in this country, much less in this planet, are going to hold off their shit until then? Are you fucking crazy? This just proves to me, that I'm not shitting just on the Republicans because they're fucking incompetent and stupid and they say no to everything that's good and yes, keep more for themselves. That's the conservative part. The liberal part has shitheads there too. And these are dumb, stupid motherfuckers themselves. They're all corrupt one way or another. This is fucking far-fetched beyond any means of the whole fucking idea that we should get back to fucking normal, because let's be honest about it. What's the point of having fucking money and stimulus just to pay bills and rent or mortgages, and then all of a sudden nothing is going to fucking happen? Do you have any idea what the fuck is going to happen? We're going to be at a point where it's going to take decades to recover from. Our children will never forgive us if this happens. And of course, these fucking half-wit, dumb jackoffs in suits think it's a good idea to shut down the country for another year. That idea alone makes me sick to my stomach. So I look back on this. And I see what type of background this motherfucker has. And I see that one of his, under his bios, under the state of California, or any type, I look under the bios. And it says down here, because it's just basic, he's a political in political science, and he has a Jesuit approach in Santa Clara University, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he has a partial baseball scholarship. Who gives a fuck? But anyway, there's one key thing that caught my eye, and that is this. Newsom's aunt was married to Ron Pelosi. That is the brother-in-law of Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi, an old fucking fictitious twat that can't even fucking get a shithole president impeached because she's too fucking incompetent to do the job. Now, it makes me think to myself, well, she had something to do with this? Fucking feckless old wrinkly fucking cunt, fucking half cadaver. So fuck her. And fuck this fool too, because he fucking basically got nepotism his way to the California governor's office. Bowl until 2021. Basically, that puts next year's WrestleMania in jeopardy. Basically, that puts next year's Olympics in jeopardy. That puts everything in fucking jeopardy, including the well-being of this country. If you are in favor of destroying this country, then fuck you. You're a piece of shit. And I challenge anybody that has the fucking decency to think that I'm wrong. Because eventually there's going to be an uprising in this country. Because we've seen what the fuck is going on. Power struggles, power hunger, and greediness. And this shit is going to stop one way or another. Fuck these goddamn politicians and fuck these fucking greedy cocksuckers in business suits. Because I don't like anybody in a fucking suit. They're all full of shit. They're all wrong. They're crooks. And they're never fucking good for anybody. Not in the world of professional wrestling. Not in the world of sports. Not in the world of economics. Nothing. All industry is shut down because of fucking incompetent people like this. And to cock tease the fact that everything's going to be all right, and then 2 days later, we're going to be shut down until 2021. Fuck you. I hope you die a horrible, painful death. I hope you get crotch rot and fucking die of eating from your toenail to your fucking asshole, you fucking cocksucking bunch of fucking pricks. Fuck. I've had enough of this fucking bullshit. And then we'll talk about something else next week. I'm just fucking disgusted with all these cuts and all these fucking WWE cuts and all the way to the point these rich cocksuckers fucking keep doing, manipulating this. This is exactly what I'm afraid of. And unfortunately, we're heading that way. If you agree with me on this, then fine. I'm glad you do. Welcome to the party. But if you think that what I'm saying is pure bullshit, debate me, motherfucker. Debate me. I fucking dare you. Fucking debate me. Because we need real leadership in this world. We need real leadership that's going to be responsible enough to do what we have to do. And if some bullshit happens to come along with some suspicious, fishy fucking economical strategies go on, they need to be held responsible for what they do in the first place. Fucking assholes. So there you go. My problem's not just with the Republicans. It's all these politicians. They're all full of shit one way or another. I'm not red nor blue. I am neutral ground. That's what I am. This fucking pisses me off just fucking thinking about it. So I'll talk to you guys next week. We'll come up with something. We'll talk about something. Hopefully all this stupid nonsense will hopefully things will start getting better if we have it next week. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Eric Peralta, reminding you to wash your ass. I'll see you next week.